the San Antonio Spurs delivered a commanding and season-defining performance on a high-pressure playoff night, dismantling the Oklahoma City Thunder 118-91 in a decisive Game 6 of the Western Conference Finals to level the series at 3-3 and force a winner takes all Game 7. In a matchup defined by momentum swings, tactical adjustments, and rising playoff intensity, the Spurs produced their most complete performance of the series, overwhelming Oklahoma City on both ends of the floor and shifting the entire narrative of the conference finals heading into the final showdown. From the opening tip, San Antonio played with urgency and physical intent, immediately setting a tone that Oklahoma City struggled to match. The Spurs' defensive scheme focused on cutting off penetration lanes, forcing the Thunder into contested perimeter shots, and limiting transition opportunities, an area where Oklahoma City had previously thrived in earlier games of the series. The early defensive pressure translated directly into offensive rhythm, as San Antonio capitalized on turnovers and missed shots with fast breaks and well-executed half-court sets. Within minutes, the Spurs had built a double-digit lead, and the Thunder were forced into an early timeout to regain composure. What followed was a sustained display of disciplined basketball from San Antonio, combining veteran leadership with youthful energy in a way that defined their playoff identity. The Spurs' ball movement was sharp and deliberate, repeatedly finding open looks from beyond the arc and exploiting mismatches inside the paint. Midway through the first quarter, the Spurs' lead had already grown significantly, and the home crowd responded with rising energy as Oklahoma City struggled to find any offensive consistency. The Thunder, who entered the game with confidence after strong performances earlier in the series, appeared unsettled by the Spurs' defensive rotations. Their primary scorers were held in check by aggressive perimeter defense, while interior attempts were frequently altered or blocked. Turnovers became a growing issue, and San Antonio consistently converted those mistakes into easy points. By the end of the first quarter, the Spurs had established a commanding cushion that placed immediate pressure on Oklahoma City to respond. In the second quarter, the Thunder attempted to stabilize the game by slowing the pace and running more structured half-court sets. However, San Antonio's defensive discipline continued to dictate the flow. The Spurs' big men controlled the paint, limiting second-chance opportunities and securing defensive rebounds that prevented Oklahoma City from building momentum. On the offensive end, San Antonio maintained efficiency through patient possession work, repeatedly finding high-percentage shots rather than forcing difficult attempts. As halftime approached, the Spurs had built a substantial lead, and the atmosphere in the arena reflected growing confidence that San Antonio was on the verge of a statement victory. Oklahoma City, meanwhile, retreated to the locker room needing significant adjustments, particularly in shot selection and defensive coverage. Despite the deficit, the Thunder remained mathematically and psychologically alive in the series, knowing that one strong third-quarter run could still shift momentum. The third quarter, however, became the defining stretch of the game, and arguably the entire series. San Antonio emerged with renewed intensity, quickly extending the lead through a combination of perimeter shooting and interior dominance. The Spurs executed crisp offensive sets that consistently generated open looks, while their defense continued to smother Oklahoma City's primary scoring options. Every attempt by the Thunder to cut into the lead was met with an immediate response, either through a defensive stop or a quick scoring run. Oklahoma City's struggles in the third quarter were compounded by missed opportunities at the free throw line and a lack of rhythm in their half-court offense. Frustration began to show as shot selection deteriorated, and the Spurs took full advantage. San Antonio's bench also played a critical role during this stretch, maintaining intensity and extending the lead even when starters rested. By the end of the third quarter, the game had effectively slipped out of reach, with the Spurs holding a commanding advantage that made a comeback highly improbable. The fourth quarter served largely as a confirmation of San Antonio's dominance. While Oklahoma City made efforts to reduce the deficit and salvage pride, the Spurs controlled tempo, managed possessions, and prevented any meaningful runs. The coaching staff rotated players to preserve energy for the upcoming Game 7, while still maintaining enough structure to ensure the lead remained secure. The final minutes were played in a subdued atmosphere as the outcome had long been decided. When the final buzzer sounded, the scoreboard reflected a decisive 118-91 victory for the San Antonio Spurs, a 27-point statement win that not only evened the series but completely reset the psychological balance heading into Game 7. The Spurs' performance was widely viewed as one of their most complete playoff outings, marked by defensive intensity, offensive efficiency, and collective discipline. In the aftermath of the game, attention immediately shifted to the implications for both teams. For San Antonio, the victory represented a resurgence at a critical moment, proving their ability to respond under elimination pressure and execute a game plan with precision. The coaching staff emphasized composure and adaptability, noting that the team's success came from controlling tempo and forcing Oklahoma City into uncomfortable positions. For the Thunder, the loss raised urgent questions about consistency, shot selection, and their ability to respond to defensive pressure in high-stakes environments. Despite strong performances earlier in the series, their struggles in Game 6 exposed vulnerabilities that the Spurs had clearly targeted. Oklahoma City's coaching staff was expected to focus heavily on adjustments, particularly in breaking San Antonio's defensive schemes and generating more efficient scoring opportunities. Beyond tactics and execution, the game also carried significant emotional weight. Momentum in playoff basketball often shifts dramatically from game to game, and the Spurs' emphatic win ensured that all pressure now shifts to Game 7.